sometimes the timing, whatever I'm experiencing with technical difficulties, won't let me come through. So I hope that people understand that it's not in my powers. It's because of technology. I would like to say things, but sometimes we have faulty wiring. We have situations which don't allow it to go as it is planned to. So, I apologize in advance. That's one of the things, but I try to get here as soon as I can. I just got through experiencing some situations, so I had to do some fine tuning. But I am now here live, and if anybody comes through, I welcome it. I will be here. What's up? What's up? How you doing? What's happening? What's happening? I did a lot of videos just now. I think some of the things you're gonna like that I just got through tapping into. I had a nice Nick Saban roast. I think you'll like the video I did. I got a chance to really, and I give you a shout out video. I appreciate you, Ted. I had a chance to really sit down, listen to what was really said, put it into my own stew, stir the pot. Yeah, I'm glad it came through. I thought he had it coming to him. I really did. So I addressed that, and I did a few other videos. Adrian Dantley, I had it sent. I was going through, and of course I love AD, the real AD, by the way. And so I saw it, and I thought, okay, I got to do this video because the last part when he said he'd rather go up against LeBron James than Karl Malone, I said I got to make that into a video. And then I did a video about Joe Montana. So I know your boy Pat McAfee, who you like a whole lot. And I happened to catch the Montana one. It was a good interview because Montana was talking. And he said, ain't no way in the world he gonna back up Steve Young. And I had to watch that one. So they got inspired to me. Um, well, he got a ring though. He got a ring of it. That's not the worst thing that happened to AD though. The worst thing that happened to AD was the bulk of his career because he got a ring out of it. But they did give him a ring, but it's just that he was not the Negro they wanted. That had to do with the NBA powers that be. That wasn't just an Isaiah or Pistons thing. It's just that he had long said what he had said. You got to remember, he'd been playing since the 70s. So when he comes to the Pistons, he's about 9, 10 years into his career. So this ain't just somebody who's just, this ain't a, who can I pick on? I gotta get a good example. Who could I pick on? Two black, yeah, I said that already in the video. I said it on the thing. I gotta think of somebody, but he wouldn't be the one I think of because again, the guys who's 10, 9, 10, 12 years into their career, uh, they're looking for anything to get your butt up out of there. Anything. So if you sneeze funny, you cough funny, you laugh at the wrong thing, you gone. So, um, and I watched him play. I remember what he could do. So, but anyway, I decided to do the video on him. I addressed the Gilbert Arenas Michael Jordan thing. What's happening? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Welcome back. Glad to have you come back. Great to see you again. Thank you. Um, I addressed the Gilbert Arenas thing. And I said, I don't think he did it. And I think Gilbert be doing the Kanye thing, but I'm going to say this. In David Stern's NBA, would I be shocked or surprised? No, because they lied about him playing baseball. He really did get suspended. I would take my word on that one. I ain't bought the thing. So I wouldn't be, nothing would shock or surprise me. But it doesn't exempt LeBron from, but, you know, I've always said there's a lot going on because there's a lot of money being paid. So glad to have people coming back again and feel free to ask questions and let's let it roll. But I wouldn't be too surprised about nothing. Mm-mm. Why are you excited for it? Do tell. You must see something on the crystal ball that I don't. I'm not excited for it because as a Yankee fan, you do understand, right? You do understand why I'm not Google Gaga about it. I don't want another, I mean, it's nice to be ahead of Boston, but that means that you're in fourth place. I mean, uh, unless you know something I don't, speak now, forever hold your peace. Because you know, and it'll be interesting what happens this year. I mean, part of me will be, but part of me will be kind of like, we'll see. I knew already last year around June that the Yankees weren't going to do nothing. So, gotta understand, I don't, I hope you're right. I hope you were right. They better, or there going to be some people getting fired this year. I bet you cash money. Pull another 8280 out and see if you don't get. So, but anyway, hope you're right. I hope you're right. Subtle's a big part. I don't know if he's going to be the X factor because pitching is going to be key. Excuse me. And I think there'll be other parts. He'll be important. I don't think he'll be an X factor. I mean, let's be realistic. Is he better than Giancarlo Stanton? He had to be X factor. He has to be the second best player and looking like the first. I don't know. We'll see. But we'll see how it all goes. That may be true, but how many wins we got? See, I don't want a whole lot of situation where they just stat padding and they ain't winning nothing. That don't do nothing. You know. So I'd rather let it play itself out before I get my hopes up too. I remember now it's been what 15 years since they won a chip, so you know, hey, can they even beat Houston in the playoffs? There's just a lot of unanswered questions. I just don't know. Do they have the pitching? Do they have the depth? So I don't know. Anyway, you saw I did a video about Bruno Mars. That's like one of the biggest stories. 50 million depth in Vegas. Yeah, Bruno Mars, $50 million depth in Vegas. Wow. I do too. I think he's the best artist going today. However, you can't afford to be playing in Vegas like that. Man, you got to play every night and you got to pay that off. And well, for me, that's a no brainer. I mean, let's see, one guy writes his music, can entertain, versatile, got talent. It's a difference. There's a difference. That's a difference. That's not saying nothing. You still ain't said nothing that you know, those two are not that memorable like that. Usher is a very good, like as a showman, that is his best thing. Now, some good songs are like, that's talent. But those two are not exactly like people that I think you're going to sit there and debate all time. You know, all three of them are cut from the Michael Jackson school, but it's how you put it together. But I'm just saying. But you gotta say something that would make me go, wow, when you mention Bruno. So I'm waiting for you to say that he belongs in a conversation with somebody that's bigger and better, not them two. Because them two, that's a no brainer. For me, it is. For me, it is. You know. So, but but anyway, $50 million in the hole in Vegas. That's pretty big news. Yeah, that's not again. Bobby had one great album and it had a window of our run, but you know, that's you know, because you had and that Bobby run was like what? That's like 35 years ago. 30. That's no. So you know, again, he's a more well-rounded artist. So I just think probably when he came to be in '84, that he got a chance to play more than anything. Because again, he dealt with so much racial bias, and that he spent so much time before he got to put it in. So him actually getting a chance to get out there and do it. I think when he played with Seattle briefly, that was pretty memorable, but it was bittersweet. You know, that's the most painfulest thing when I tell anybody about this. People don't understand the black quarterback in the NFL and how it's been more of a recent phenomenon. Oh, too many to mention. I mean, I could say the Detroit Lion game in '83. I could say, he was a one man wrecking crew. So many, so many. The most intimidating defensive player I've ever seen in my life because he won games. I mean, he wasn't just a guy that tackled or played. He really won games. He was really like a neutralizer, you know. So just, incredible force and talent. So, there's certain people, they are great at what they do, and there's certain people, they dominate what they do, and they just leave you like an awe. And that's how I would describe him, you know, blown away talent. So, um, most of the stuff when he was with the Nets, how he fed Kenyon Martin, Richard Jefferson. I mean, most of that stuff. I thought his championship run with Dallas was impressive too. The subtleties that he got Dirk involved, the subtleties that he did to facilitate, and he made some shots. I think that's where, you know, more so, of course, as a player, not so much as a coach. No, there's nothing that I would say as a um my pet peeve of black barbers. Well, when I dealt with them, because a lot of times they're the reason why I end up doing my own hair. Um, uh, Let me turn on real quick. A lot of them turn me off because they would always try to take too much off the top, keep talking to you, line your head up, and then, get into a conversation and the cat just was talking and talking. I think the biggest problem I had though was when I was a kid. So you ever get your lines done and then they give you that alcohol in your head? I had the barbers back then say count to 10, it's gonna sting. It was a trip. That thing would sting because it's trying to line you up, and then they would put that on you. Yeah, well, yeah, that's a thing. Cause you be talking about you want to crossfade or you want to strip, and the cat just kind of like, you know. So, but I had this one barber. It was a father and son crew. They were funny. This was in Virginia. They were hilarious. No one wanted the old man to do the hair because the old man would cut your hair. It's kind of like you were Cuba Gooding Jr. in Coming to America, and you come in there and he like, let me cut a little bit more off. Let me cut a bit more off. That cat would keep cutting. The son was always like he was smoking a joint, so he was like kind of jicky because I saw him in the club, kind of, I'm like, okay. So these cats were, mm, they were interesting. But I had some good ones. I had some people. There was different stories though. I don't want to stereotype because again, that's not fair. But there were some that, you know, were problematic. There were some that were problematic. So, uh, so I got a funny story for you. So it's funny how you say that because white barbers though don't always want to be dealing with black head. Um, yeah, I had a situation where I did do some cat's hair because I had the equipment, and I did want that box, you know. Yeah, because you know how they fade it up. Because when white folk do that, but they give you that lawnmower look, so it's like real puffy on the top, and then what's what black style does it, you can get lines, you can get zags, you can get twists, you know. So there is a difference right there. There is a difference. You know, if I ever had a white barber do my hair, I had to say like a straight fade or something because they don't really get scared. Go to a white girl, she'll do your hair. I learned a long time ago if a white girl does your hair, she's rocking her hair a certain way. I got schooled on it by a buddy of mine because at the time I didn't. By a white barber? You saying I know you're black, but I'm saying you had your hair cut nice by a white barber. That's what I'm asking. Only time I ever had somebody white do my hair was girls. And the women, I had a buddy of mine was messing with this girl, and she twisted my hair up real proper. I had real crazy. I had like long time ago when my hair was braided and all that. She did the Bone Thugs and Harmony. I had one white male barber do my hair in Virginia because he gave me a top, but I think he was kind of scared, but he did my hair. But I'm gonna tell you, I had horror stories back in the '80s, Ted. I was in Houston. I remember one time I was at the mall and I needed to get my hair done before I was going back home. I was going back to Virginia. I was going back home. So I had my hair ready before I go to school, right? I stepped foot in that white barber shop. The white guy got, we don't do your hair here. It was one of the most hilarious things. I kid you not. This was the mid 80s. This isn't one of the 60s and 70s. White dude saw me get ready to set my foot. I got ready to put my foot in his door. He's like, I don't do that hair here. Don't do that. Told me at the door, we don't do your hair. Told me that. I never forgot that. Summer of '86, dude stopped me dead in my tracks. Never forgot that. Oh yeah, yeah, I imagine that. I could see that. Especially with the coarse and the texture. Cause I knew some Mexican cats that actually had like little froze and had some fur on their head. So I could see that. could see that. Well, see, at least you had no problem, like I said. Now, the other story, when I moved out to the West Coast and I went to the mall to get my hair done, them white girls went scary. Now, the funny story is that they had like a hair school across the street from where I was. So they got taught how to do hair. But when they saw my hair coming in, they're like, uh-oh, go find her. She can do black hair. Kid you not. Kid you not. Just like what I just got through saying. And it's not undercover. It's because it's in code. So when you saying undercover, it's like they talk in code, but you know what they mean. They got ways of saying the brown bag or something. What's happening? What's happening? DJ Slayer, what's up? They got ways of saying stuff without saying it. So it's not, it's kind of like Trump talks a lot about how, Biden, they talk about how the black support and all that. Doing all right. How about yourself? If you DJ Slayer, I think you're going to be talking about music. Good, good, good to hear. It's not in the customer black does. Well, it is because they talking codes with everybody until they know. It's kind of like they see if you bite. Um, they get honest with them actually. It's a funny story because I seen one that okay. Yeah, I don't mind if they ask me questions if they know me, but they just saying stuff to be saying stuff. Yeah, okay. And everything's all right. If you want to talk about the Lord, I welcome it. If you want to talk spiritually, I welcome it. I got no problem. What's up, Zeke? I got no problem with people who, want to have conversations, but I want to question. I don't want to just you coming up and, things that you saying. So, but let me get my train of thought back. Yeah, if they undercover, they're usually gonna slip up. They're gonna slip up. Everybody got to be corrupted for him to win an award. And he talks everything you want to hear when he does his interviews. He just like, it's like the guy to come on and say, look, I'm an entertainer, an artist. I'm doing what I do, but I'm a human being at the end of the day. That's kind of like I think he wanted to come out to say, you know. So he does he's one of those kind of people, it's like sometimes you get smoke and mirrors, I think he's one of the greatest actors ever, but he is an actor. You talking about the one that's on Peacock or you talking about the old school one? Because you got to clarify, verify. I need to know which one you're talking about because there's the one that's on Peacock that's out. And then okay. Well, they always made Uncle Phil kind of dumb, even though he was a black judge. They tried to sell the premise of the younger. They used the same thing they used with JJ from Good Times. It's funny because when you think about it, they always wanted the kid to be the smartest and they wanted that kind of aesthetic. And it sends a bad message out. I had a buddy of mine who was a teacher, and he said that's what happened to him, that they basically told him in the school department that they wanted that to be like the characteristics. They wanted the kids to be smart and you kind of like Uncle Phil and you got to take that hit. And I'm like, ooh, there goes your credentials. So it's paved in stereotype. Uh, goody two shoes, too polished, you know, not any, not one of the things is this. Yes, I can tolerate him as America's TV dad. Cosby's one of the greatest comedians, one of the greatest talents ever. Who are we kidding? Stop it with the act like you are got him on mute and you're not. However, it was a little too make believeish, you know. It's like I'm not saying there can't be a black lawyer and a doctor in the house, because it has. I've seen it, but it's just the way they went out of their way, I think, for crossover appeal. And it's kind of funny because he tried that same antics with a different world, and they so on the lines. It's like, look, y'all got to blacken it up. So you know, so Garnett, he's a better player. You know, Gasol's got more accomplished with the rings. If you go that, but Garnett's a better player. That's and I can make the case that Gasol was like a Euro version of Garnett. Broke though, a broke Euro version of him. No, a broke. Garnett was a better player. Garnett was a freakish, long, lean, small, you know, a power forward, but you know, he just didn't come up big all the way to match what he had. Because I mean, his stats and his, you know, once he got going, I mean, you know, but yeah, Garnett got him beat. Ask me who I think of the two who could make it today. I'd say Garnett would too. Hello, how you doing? Um, Favre, Favre, because again, Bradshaw was good, but he had. I mean, he was the parts around him were better. He wasn't even the best quarterback they had because Broadway Joe Gilliam was a better quarterback. If we talking about actual talent, Bradshaw would tell you that. But Favre got him beat as far as arm strength, um, and from where Favre came from. You got to remember, Favre was considered as a third tier in Atlanta, so taking Favre. Okay, yeah, it's already done. I think we did this one already. You asked me this one a couple of days ago because I told you I was LT for the career. Marcus is my favorite of the backs, but LT had the, you know, that we did this one already. I mean, personally, Thompson had the better numbers, but I like Marcus better, so that's how I would describe it. But you asked me this one a couple of days ago, though. Yeah, you said that they won last night. They won. Damon is struggling. I don't think Doc is struggling. I think Dame's the one that's struggling. I think Doc is still working out the kinks. I think it's Dame. I think they're trying to ingratiate, trying to bring Dame into the system more than anything. I think Doc will figure it out as a coach. He just has to utilize Lopez and Giannis and get the bench and manipulate the guard play. I don't think he's struggling in terms of, you know, what he's working with. I think the Dame thing is what's the struggle. His lack of defense, and if he doesn't have a big offensive game, how many other ways he gonna beat you? So I think that's more of the struggle. I think that's more about Dame than Stock. Uh, um, that's a good question. I'm going to go with actually, I like Sharper. I thought he was underrated. Lynch was bad. White boy could hit and could play, but I think Darren was nice with it. Darren was actually nice with it. You know, I thought he had game. I thought just a tad bit of an edge. I have to give it to him over Lynch. Do me a favor every time we do these Andros. I'm curious about who you would pick. So back to LT and Marcus, who you got? I give Sharper just a pinch over Lynch. It's close. Most underrated bills ever. That's tough because it's kind of. I mean, part of me might lean to Daryl Talley, um, Steve Tasker is a great example of one. Tasker was a bad white boy. And I don't think he gets his due. Tasker was a bad white boy. So it'd be somebody like that. Hmm. Who else could I pick on this underrated bills? Part of me wants to deep down give Nate Odom some love. If they make guys who should be in there wait too long, that's my main pet peeve. Like Drew Pearson shouldn't have had to wait that long to get in. You should know if you want guys to get in or not. So, and I think sometimes the speeches are just like over the top. I just, you know, so that's my main pet peeve. I think sometimes they make long, they have to, and the guys, if you're a Hall of Famer, you should be able to get in, it shouldn't be something that takes all night. So that's my main pet peeves. But unless there's something that's a really distinctive one, I don't waste my time watching them either. Well, Atlanta in the '90s, I thought they had a great rotation. The Yankees, O's, I like the mid '90s Yankees rotation too. Um, Atlanta, Yankees, all the teams that were successful and won. Because you got to have great pitching to win. There hasn't been a team that's won without great pitching. Okay. But anyway, that's my favorite pitching rotation. So yeah, pretty much teams that won because they used to have it. Uh, George Brett, 390, Tony Gwynn, 384, Barry Bonds at 375, I think it was. I want to say there's one of those years where Pete Rose he had a really great year. I can't think of it right now. There's so many, but there's one in particular. Um, Trying to think who else got pick on. Hmm. Yeah, most of my favorite baseball batting seasons is all. Um, the theatrics. You know, the guys that go. Some of them got so many theatrics that it's kind of like you're up there exaggerating it, and then sometimes it just becomes a game of theatrics. I don't want to see no bum, no scrub, or no never was up there acting like they're revering. They're gonna come in and like I'm commanding. They know good and well that they're just not that dude. So that's one of my pet peeves. So, well, we talked about this before. Retired players, their biggest thing is that they always armchair quarterback. Armchair. I could do this if I was still playing. I do this. I do that. And from a talent perspective, yes. However, are you going to be with a team that's going to solely based on what you do? So unless you are playing in a modern era with said situation, it's kind of hard to just speculate. Well, again, it's a different connotation with that. I'm just saying. But retired players are hilarious though. The NBA players coming to me, I score 35, 40 points. But you're gonna, again, you have to depend on what you're dealing with. This era in the technology does make you become an armchair because you just you can see how flawed a lot of these teams are. Scrubs with the blazer hilarious. Yeah, well, if you watch enough for a number of years, you'll see everything. You'll see enough of everything. Hmm. Yeah, I do too. I do too. I think I've said that already. Jokic is, you know, and they're playing another level, and they're gonna win the West, and they just they're a special team. I got no pet peeve because he keeps working on his game. Like whatever thing I could get at him fundamentally, he works on his game. I just think that he doesn't really like to be bothered, and he doesn't like to be asked certain questions. And you know, he's it's kind of hard to tell because he's going through a lot, but he's already left the body of work. So my Phil Jackson pet peeves. He always likes to talk double talk, real slick. you know, he would talk through the media and, you know, stuff got blown. But the kind of success he's had, I can't really even hate too long on Phil. So that was my Phil Jackson pet peeves. I just think that a lot of times with Phil, he was putting it on real thick, and he made up his mind about what he felt and what he saw. So, you know, I think he becomes a bit pompous. It's that slick hippie thing, but it's a lot of double talk with Phil, you know. Can't say nothing bad about him because the guy's, I mean, he's won and they're not gonna replace him no time soon. So, you know. Oh, you talking about Dion? Oh, you said Coach K. Okay, Coach. I did Coach K. Prime. That's easy. This ain't SWAT colleges. You're playing with the big boys. Cats hit harder, move faster, move quicker, and you got a target and a bullseye and you're behind. You black dude, y'all popped off, y'all rock shade, y'all was blasting, y'all was Kool-Aid on the buzz, but now you're Sunny Delight. So he got to figure out a way where he don't lose that team because they quit on him the second half of the season. So he got growing pains. So he ain't used to losing, so get used to it, Prime. So yeah. Hmm. Okay, I had to go back and forth with the Prime chat so I could get your question. None, none whatsoever. Not none on that. I mean, it's the four best teams. How can I have? I can't. You know. Um, it should be the four best teams always, and being know where the chips fall where they may. So, it's a good question. So you're made to feel kind of smart and kind of dumb at the same time, if that makes sense. So part of you has to act like you're engaged and enlightened, and you're also on the hustle. So you got to work the streets and work your mouth. But on the other hand, you just kind of sit back there and just kind of sign off on things. Like you have to be observant, but you can't say nothing. So you're bought for silence. However, you get out there and do stuff, and then it changes the course of a different color. So yeah, okay. It's a good question with them. Stanky dress. Oh, trick. Keep a stank dress in your drawer, curtains, and then you wonder why nobody will touch you. I mean, that was just nasty. Um, but one of them things where you just yeah. That's my thoughts on that. About Monica, old dirty. Hillary, too bullish, almost mannish, rough around the edges. And she had some polish. I'm gonna tell you right now, if Hillary Clinton looked like Sarah Palin and had some personality like, let's see, she looked like Hillary. She looked like Sarah Palin and had personality, like say like Queen Latifah. She'd win multiple times. She should have won because she's got the skill set. It's just that she's too bullish in the last name. Oh, because Starburst is on everything. I mean, you can't do nothing without Starburst pushing the agenda. And people will say, "Oh, you ain't no. Who you with, who you with, etc." Right? Just don't make it like it's got to be part of everything. It's like if you have peanut butter and jelly, I got to have some Starburst on the side to make it a sandwich. No, it's pushed as an agenda, and it's used as a weapon. Wasn't always the case. 40 years ago, that was not the case. And it doesn't make people all warm and fuzzy to black folks either, because some of them are some of the biggest haters too. We already talked about the buck dancers. I already told you. Just they have to always act, you know, you know. I mean, that's pretty self-obvious. Buck dancers' pet peeves is like trying too hard at what? I don't know. James Harden, that's a great question. Ooh, good question. That's a great one because once we get past Jordan, D. Wade, Kobe, Jerry West, Clyde Drexler, who else do I got as a two guard? He's top 10, but he's on the lower end. Could have been higher. Could have been higher. Well, who your five? Give me your five. Let me hear what you got. I know he's over Reggie Miller. That's not a no-brainer. But let me see what you got. You ask these questions, I want to see what some of you cats got. But he's not in my top five, that's for sure. And he's not my top six. Top 10. Top 10. But let me see what you got. What about Michael Jordan? Clyde Drexler? Listen, if it was a regular season, if we're talking regular season, Harden might be arguably top four easily, maybe top three if we're talking regular season. Because I mean, as a scoring machine in his peak in his prime, he was beasting. But I have to put all the body of work together. We have to do body of work. We don't do half bodies of work. If we did half bodies of work, Peyton Manning's top two or three ever. If we just go by regular season. But we don't do that though. I don't. I can't speak for anybody else. You ask me stuff, I have to think totality. Now I can use prime and peak as my argument because I think guys as prime and peaks can represent, and I can say at the highest level. But when we talking about totality, means regular season, postseason, I have to put that in a context. Mm, Jerry West, I think it's because he shot so well. I think that's the thing. Uh, See, if he was a point guard, it wouldn't fare good for him because he wouldn't even crack my top five. Let's just keep it 100. Because if I got, say, Steph, Magic, Oscar Robinson, Isaiah Thomas, uh, John Stockton, got Jason Kidd, Gary Payton, it wouldn't, and that's to be a diss to that man, because that man, what I'm saying is, and it all depends on where you come down. Robert Ory and Robert Ory. Okay, well, I'm glad you bring basketball reference, but in my eyes and in my world, Oscar Robinson was more of a point guard than Jerry West. I He was a combo, but I put him more as a two. I have to, because I'd be disrespecting him if I put him as a point guard, because he wouldn't crack my top five. He wouldn't. And the guys I mentioned as the five accomplished things that he didn't. He was a better scorer. But then again, if Steph Curry goes another 2 or 3 years of top tier ball, he's gonna pass him on the scoring list. So then what? Then what be the criteria then? So I just put him as a two for me. AC Green would be one of them. I like, there are guys I used to like off the bench, legit guys, not guys that just be sitting on the bench. I'm talking about legit guys. Udonis. But that's cool, Goat. That's cool. That's a good topic, though. I like that fight back with it. I go by the eyeball test. I can't go by those, what they call them, because again, that wouldn't be fair to him. And also, his assists would be way up too. None, none, because I don't like them. I mean, I'm a mean person. Just don't really feel it. See what I mean? Yeah, but so did Wilt did it the following year. Now, what's that say? That don't look good for him. Wilt did it the following year. See, that's the problem with Jerry West when you use that criteria, because I like Madsen, but I don't, you know, uh, yeah, he scored more, and that's the thing. But you know, I look at his scoring more than anything. They got him as the logo for driving to the hole, not for a dime. So, and Madsen was bad. So, Madsen was entertaining. Surprised he didn't get no hookup job like Kurt Rambis, though. Sure, they thought about it. Well, thanks, thanks. Well, yeah, because again, I thought about some of these cats that. Well, anyway, was it Charles and them, and they was doing Shaq and a Fool, and they had uh uh Kuzman and Jordan Poole with that back to back pass, and they said going to Cocoon, they're going to Cancun, but same thing. You know how bad they play in Washington, so same thing. You know, but some guys do stay in their cocoon. I got terms; they just come up out the blue, and I've been, a lot of years. Used to see a lot of stuff just talking about homeboys just chopping it up, and then you live, and then a lot of that stuff comes back. So now I'm making it more commercialized where I said it, but I used to say stuff in private and laugh. Cocoon, Cancun, same thing. Cancun, Cocoon, all of it, same thing. Cat's gonna be stuck in gonna be stuck in there. So, if it fits, it's gonna fit. Um, he never been the same since he got slapped. It's almost like Draymond Green. Between Draymond Green and Icy Spice, they just, But see, you got to remember something. I'll tell you something, Goat. Look at where he got traded. Look at where he got traded. Just like Kyle Kuzma. You go to a team where you can stat pad. That's what Bradley Beal did. Now, Bradley Beal is playing pretty good for Phoenix. Not great. But see, guys' mindset is to play in Saudi Arabia because that's what I call teams like the Wizards. Saudi Arabia. I use these terms. I'll get to that just a second, Ted. I use these terms for teams that, even though you have internet access and access, they may as well be in another country, another galaxy, because they ain't winning nothing. They ain't gonna get no TV games. They don't even get low lights on their own in Washington, let alone except when Jordan Poole got booed for a scoreless donut game. But when you get traded to teams like that, they always have a guy who scores like 30, 50 points because that's all they got, and they still get blowed out by 40. So, yeah, he wasn't serious. He got caught being cute and getting happy because they won a ring, and he wanted all the perks. He didn't want to put the work in. That Steph Curry work ethic did not roll over on him. The Klay Thompson work ethic did not roll over. Even Draymond's way. So he got cocky and cute and thought, oh, So that's what they. And when you play for whack teams, you can pump stats. There's a lot of guys who's got averaging 20, 25 points. Put them on a real team. Let's see what they do. Put them with some real players. Ted always asking me about Dame Lillard. How's that looking in Milwaukee with him and Giannis? Where's this Mr. 40, 50, 60 point game at now? Where's those dimes at? Where's it at? Gets exposed. I'm not calling him a fraud, but I'm just calling it what it is. You play empty calorie, empty stands, that's what you do. That's what a lot. Okay, Ted, so the Rooney rules pet peeves, it's fake. All it means is if you're black and you're on a Zoom call, okay, we got a black face on the camera, check. That's all. It don't mean nothing because they ain't hiring them. Not like that. Not like that. So it's the typical deception. Bobo, yeah. Well, the Suns got to do something because Frank Vogel's teams don't play no defense and they're considered soft. So you got to do something. Got to do something. Well, you meant the Bullets because they weren't the Wizards. If I was going by the greatest Wizard player, I don't know. But if we're going by the Bullets, the real, yeah, it's close, but I gotta give a slight edge of the two to Wes Unseld, only because he won Rookie of the Year and he won MVP of the Year, which is rare. And he was. Do you know they tell you that Kevin Love is the best outlet passing big since Wes Unseld? So that alone. Now Elvin Hayes was a bad man. That dude could straight out play, great hands, etc. But Wes was a, imposing figure. So I would give it to Wes. But it's close. 1 and 1A. But because he won Rookie of the Year and League MVP in the same time, I got to give it to Wes. It's funny we talking about Washington basketball because it has not been relevant forever. Yeah, he was. That's what I'm saying. He was a strong round mound of a dude. He was the original round mound before Barkley for his height and his size. Strong, bullish, physical, and could throw that outlet pass. He could throw it like a quarterback. As a matter of fact, he threw better than some of the quarterbacks Washington football team has had the last few years. Just saying, he could throw some. He could throw some flares down the court. Ben Wallace, because he really was aggressive with it. Barkley got rebounds. Ben Wallace created rebounds. There's a difference. One guy getting them, another guy who can create it. Because Ben was very dominant in the way he would bogart his way. So he was very strategic. He used his size and his strength, and he created. But Barkley had rebounds. That's one of the few times I've ever heard anyone put them two in the same category for anything. Probably the last time too, because that's about it. But Ben, Ben was a Ben was a board maker. All right. That was a real interesting question. I never ever seen anyone ever put them two in the same sentence. So Ted, you got me with that one. That may be one of the most trickiest questions I've ever seen. Props to you on that. Mm. Great questions, Goat. That's a good question. I appreciate that because you really went back on that one. Appreciate that. Sometimes I have to check these messages, make sure everything is going. Which Malone? Which Malone are we talking about? Because there's Moses, there's Carl. You got to say which one. I know you're not saying Jeff Malone, so which one is it, Moses or Carl? Or Patrick Ewing? Oh, Carl Malone. Because he would. So I just did the video where Adrian Dantley was saying who he would be rather go against. He said he'd rather go against LeBron James than Carl Malone. Carl was giving you the blues. Ewan gave you elbows and he would dunk, but he'd try to do a finger roll on you, and he tried to do that high fade. He did this high fade by the rim where he's like 3 or 4 feet and he's trying to do this arch. All right, Dutch, what's up? What's up? All right, DP, what's up? Not much. How you living? Okay. Glad everybody's back. What you got up cooking? Feel free to ask away. Cha-cha. All right. We're good tonight. So let's see what the questions are. Let's roll. Let's roll. Okay. That's done. Okay, okay. It happens. And again, I had to go. Okay, thank you. I had to go the other day and get my data add up. That had to put like 10 extra, and it was crazy because I just had got through paying the bill, and they said, "Oh, well, you put a little 10 and you be good." Oh, that's all good. I mean, some people just do. I appreciate people looking out. Till people show their true colors, then I have to put them out, and I don't like it. I just wish would the food is garbage and greasy. That's enough right there. You don't know what you eating. That's a shame. That's a shame. And there are places that are like that. Yeah, Kareem, I mean, the food is garbage. I mean, I don't know what that mess is. They give you anything to eat and literally anything to eat. Oh yeah, of course. We don't just talk about sports here. I'll tell you this, I did a video today, and if you're watching in my videos, talk about Bruno Mars going owing for a debt owing for gambling in Vegas. So we talk about that they can have access to your behind, that they can spank you and talk at you all crazy and mean. That's the worst one. Um, None. So pre-COVID, I probably went out more. Posts or there's still COVID around, obviously. And not that they're reporting. I don't mess with restaurants, so I have no favorite. I really ain't never had that, Ted. To be honest with you, never had that because like I grew up around responsible folks. And if they drunk or they did anything, I had story with my grandmother back in the day drinking, and we had a family friend that drunk too much, and she was trying to hit on one of our cousins. It was hilarious because she was a family friend. She was older, and she drunk too much. But as far as anybody, nobody. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Most of my family handled their liquor pretty good. I'm not trying to come across goody two shoes about it, but it's a fact. Everything don't be the same with everybody. So, you know, some of us just has regular boring family. Some Yeah, what happened was, uh, so she was an older black chick, and yeah, it is, it is, and she got drunk so much that I think she had to go up the stairs, and she started trying to hit on. Now she was in her 60s, almost 70s, and a cousin at the time he was in his 30s, but she had the crazy wig and was just loud, and it was a bad scene. Let's just say that. Yeah, 21. I don't know because I don't partake in them. What I've seen, people always want to know what you look like, what you're doing, and they try to hook up with you or try to, you know, people get into the same old games like, I wouldn't even know. I think now if you have friends on Facebook or something like that, they can look you up if that's what you want to do. But I wouldn't know because I took myself out of ever going to any of those reunions. I never wanted any part of it. Once I was done with school, I was done with it. I have two or three friends from back then. That's it. I wasn't gonna, they still think they can play in the league. And they go overseas and they make some money. Great question, DP. No, not at all. It's a right. Shouldn't be anything forced on you. If you don't want to do it, you shouldn't have to do it, especially when you don't feel you have any choices. And what America's putting up right now, there is no way in the world that either one of that would get anything from me. Neither one of them. None of them. I don't subscribe to that point of view. You know, I believe in pro-choice about life. Period. So I'm considered tall, so I ain't got no pet peeve. Um, they seem to, I don't know. I think that There's no pet peeve for me. I mean, for some people, they think that the taller ones get all the girls or something. That's the only thing that some people would say. Like, everybody expects that you play basketball or you're this or that. It's held to a different standard. England, Canada, went to Mexico a long time ago. And there's pluses and minuses to any place you go to. You know, I do want to get to Africa one day though, for sure. I definitely want to. I sober. Oh, they think everything is wrong with people that partake in other things. None, none. The best hasn't happened yet. And that's why I mentioned the motherland, because I want to get that out of my system. That's one of my ultimate goals. Uh, there's nothing that I've been to that I say, oh, this is it, because it's a certain euphoria that you feel within your soul that hasn't happened yet. Yeah, sober folks always think something wrong with anybody that ain't or something. I mean, and there's truth to that, but then there's not. So people are so judgmental with that. No favorite, nothing. Yeah, I'd like to think of it as a place that you feel spiritually connected. That's what I like to think. But, you know, uh, they cocky, and they know it. They know it. They get good at their job. They know it. They know how to, my grandmother was a bartender. My grandfather owned a bar. Both my grandfathers did. So I saw the bartenders and how people responded and what they did, and people like what they like. They entertaining. It's like being a DJ or being a drummer because you running the show. But they can, it's a business. It can some of them can be real showy, can mess with you. Well, of course they do. It's like being a pimp. you know, Well, it's a hustle. But hey, you got to earn your tips too, and you can run a tab up. Don't be like Bruno Mars though. I don't think that's all Bruno doing. I don't think he spent a lot of time at the bar, but I'm sure that's on the tab though. I'm quite sure of it. You play Vegas, you probably having some crazy champagne and wines and stuff. I'm sure. Oh yeah, I bet DP. I bet you do. Bet you do. Bet you do. I mean, you're blessed with whatever you come into vision with. It's just that when you ask me a best of this, there's things that I like in different places. I can't narrow it down because there's no one place that I've ever said, oh, this is the end all be all. Because experiences are different, and also cultural encounters. It's a lot of factors. He probably did. I mean, you sitting up there drinking high tier drinks. You gotta remember something. He ain't going to your local, what I call Al and Jerry's bar and grill, where the most expensive drink is probably like $50. You gotta put in some hours there, and yeah. I mean, yeah, Kelly did have a propensity for like um big time drinking and big time smoking them cigars. So you have to be with all that body banging that you do, because your body, you have to be numb to it somehow. It's a lot of pain inflicted. I'm sure their football players are heavy drinkers too. Basketball players too. I could tell, you know, baseball too. It's not the way it was when I was growing up as a kid, because back then you were told they just drink milk and drink your water. A lot of these cats were doing a lot of other things too, so nothing would surprise or shock me. Yeah, I don't really hold it on by it. I don't. Again, I'm not into this. They got because guys got ways they train. Some do some steroids, some exercise. I mean, they all got ways they got to do. They got to know how to make sure they get that out their system. I mean, it's very stressful what they do. Believe me, you got to get up there night in, night out, and you got to gear up and be physical and give up so much of your body and of your time. And you have to play at such a level. Yeah, that's not far fetched. None, none, because that's too many to go into. I like different ears for different reasons. Um, the Four Horsemen played a big part in early part of my life. There was things that The Rock did. There was some things that Hulk Hogan did, that Cena did, that Kamala did, that I like the Midnight Express Rock and Roll, that Roddy Piper did, that Jake the Snake did. There's too many. Junkyard Dog. So I mean, it's like a combination of Andre the Giant did. I just, you know, uh, n- none that really not because at the time it's it's like a viewmaster. It's like a flash of different things. So can't pick. They mean different things for different reasons, and so that's not kind of like something I would go into. J.J. Dillon, and then I'd say Teddy Long, but probably J.J. Dillon. J.J. Dillon was the first one. Jim Cornette used to move me too, but J.J. Dillon with the Four Horsemen, that was the end all be all as far as we are concerned. But again, that was a different time, different day, different time. Um, I like it. All this love, a dream, queen of my heart, stay with me. Time will reveal. Um, those come. Most of my favorite DeBard songs are pretty much between their second and third album. Love Me in a Special Way. Second and third album, I think is, and ironically, they didn't have a lot of albums out, but they had the songs that ended up becoming staples for people to sample from. That's where they hit their bread and butter. The second and third album. Go find. I don't know if you're gonna come across too many acts that had it like that. Um, Crossroads, No Vaseline, Dollars and Cents, OPP, Hip Hop Array. I want to say um, Humpty Dance. Want to say Tears, Dear Mama, Brenda's Got a Baby. Want to say oh, there's a lot. Um, Never Seen a Man Cry Till I See a Man Die. Mind Playing Tricks on Me. Can't Trust It by the time I get to Arizona. Um, um, a lot of Nas stuff. This stuff, so well, I don't know if you call them scam. I mean, you can. I mean, obviously OJ, Michael Jackson, um, uh, Tanya Hardin, Monica Lewinsky, all that stuff. All that stuff happened in the 90s. The 90s was the last. That's why I always say the 90s was when they talk about we're through with the 90s, I said the 90s was the last era where you had some real stuff before the media took over. The 90s had it going on. Every year for a while in the 90s, it was something big. Obviously, Tupac, Biggie, Easy E, those were scandals. Those were scandals. Because they didn't get resolved properly. We're still talking about it. So, um, that's a touchy subject because on one hand, you're too black for white folks and you're too white for black. You're too white for black and you're too black for white. So, um, it's a touchy one because it's again, you'd have to just think that trying to fit in, but you're still considered black. I get into this all the time. The Patrick Mahomes people try to say in Tiger Woods, I said they still considered black. Mariah's considered black. People said, well, you stuck in a one drop. I said, no, that's the American way. They don't have a special designated for you. They have designated for you if you're part of the Starburst crew, LGBTQ. They don't do that if you're black and biracial because everybody is black and biracial in America with 3Ks. Because if you have the slave master name, the dedication of English, the situation, you're not, you've been stripped. So everybody black's got a white cousin in America. Yeah. Or get called a zebra. So take your pick. Take your pick. So it all depends on how you want to play it. And people didn't just change their ways so yep, they sure do. Get treated just as worse. That says nothing. They both do. You do know Slash is half black. He been fronting with his curls in his eyes. I like Slash all right, but he does. I mean, he never said nothing about Axl Rose using the N word. Well, Lenny, I did a video. Lenny did have Marley Gibbs and Hal Williams from 227 as his stand in parents when he got his star the other day. And I thought that was pretty moving. So I give Lenny props on that. But when he said that mess about the BET black shows never inviting him, I said, that's a bunch of jive. You just choose not to go there because you thought you weren't too cool for school. You did get black hits. You did. It's just that you fit into the white rock thing. Slash let Axel use the N word, never checked him. Slash has been in Lenny's world. You looking at his guitar playing what he did, but Slash didn't identify. He had that when he worked with Michael Jackson. So back in '89, Guns N' Roses had an EP. There's a song called One in a Million. Axel said the N word. They asked Slash, he didn't really budge on it. That One in a Million song. That was on an EP they did in '89. Now Slash did a guitar part for Blackstreet. And of course he worked with Michael Jackson. And he was, but see, Slash like Lenny are considered the exotic Negroes, okay? So they got the swirly hair and the swirly imagery. They're not really seen as black like typical black. They're swirly, swashbuckling Negroes. I'm not saying not to be a fan of him as a musician or nothing, but you came out here and said he didn't buck, and I just pointed out that whole thing with Axel. Because Axel, remember, he was homophobic originally, and then they got him on the stage with Elton John because Elton is part of the gatekeepers. Remember, Eminem got into it, and Elton come on the stage with him too. Remember, just saying how history repeats itself. Now, it's funny because Axel's a big Freddie Mercury fan, so but he says these things. They all go in tandem. All you got to do is do some research. I'm just saying. But no, Slash was he talked about his mother dated David Bowie, and he was a Hollywood kid. Sal, I can't think his last. Sal's his first name, but um, they kind of situation where he ain't. He plays music as music. However, I never got like he was actually going to come out and say, "Hey, I have to play this rock role to cross over, and this is the only way I can make it because that's what he got." That let's keep it 100. If Slash had wore a high top and started playing guitar like Robert Cray, I don't think he gets half the attention he gets. I'm just saying. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Lenny used to hang out with Prince. Used to hang out. He in his mother. I mean, Lenny reflected on certain things. Yeah, Lenny tap dances here and there, but he's aware. Let's just say that he's more aware. He'll say things that you'll know that okay, he's got a pulse towards this. I just didn't care for when he said that he didn't get invited to the black shows. When I'm like, your career wasn't geared towards that, but you more than certainly got invited because you had hits. You know, yeah, but it's a situation where he was geared towards crossover audience. His career loaned itself to that. It didn't. He wasn't going to be musically, he wasn't going to connect because his music, even though he had hits like It Ain't Over Till It's Over, it wasn't geared directly towards. Well, I feel sorry for you, but of course she did. She was Clive Davis's. Come on now, she worked with Clive Davis, and if you work with Clive Davis and you black and you get opportunity, you're gonna have to do some tapping. That's what Whitney had to do. And you think Alicia's the half as good as Whitney? Think about it. But Whitney Houston had more talent in her left pinky than Alicia Keys got in her whole being, but she had to do that tap for Clive. Do you go one or two ways if you're a black woman with Clive? You either tap for him or you get whiteballed. That's what happened with Phyllis Hyman. Aretha Franklin's the only one that stood up to Clive, but Aretha had a pop crossover thing. They couldn't deny her this, She didn't tap, but they couldn't deny her. So you do get that's why you don't tap. Aretha Franklin's a good example why you don't tap. Even though Aretha played the game, though, she played the game to her advantages and spots, but she didn't tap though. But she did use the game. See, there's a way of using the game and not tapping. You go use your hits and you play smart. Because they got to come to you. But she knew who to roll with at times. But yeah, AK wouldn't be half of AK. She didn't roll with Clive Davis. I mean, that's just a fact. I ain't disappointed because I didn't think she was that talented. I always tell you that the best about Alicia Keys is behind her. Best days and everything behind her. Don't pay no attention there like that. That ain't no surprise. His whole TV persona is fake. This is some great basketball we have here. The Wendy's commercials. Look at Reggie Miller. Does he look like he eats Wendy's? If that ain't buck dancing, I don't know what is. He ain't eating no Wendy's breakfast sandwiches or no burgers. Reggie ain't no bigger than my pinky. Okay? Shh, please. And if he does eat it, he throws it up or something. Reggie is a LA kid. But that's why he gets extra checks though. Because he's got that stiff voice. He's basically the straight version of Don Lemon without the personality. That's how I would describe him. He was a perfect Negro at once upon a time. But to me, his health situation made him more, he was really the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. He was more like Carlton. He had the lifestyle. I mean, his father was a football player, his mother was well educated. So, that was the knock. Kind of too perfect and sheltered. And I think there was some resentment for some guys. They thought he was too clean and too perfect for a brother, you know. I think he was articulate and I like Grant all right. Again, people got to stop acting like black people are all the same. We're not monolithic. We come in all different shapes, sizes, colors, and thoughts. And our lives are different because of how we grow up. And some grow up with privilege as much as you can. That doesn't mean you don't work hard and doesn't mean you don't earn your keep. He did. He fit great at Duke. He had a good NBA career once he wasn't hurt. And he's a broadcaster. I got respect for Grant. The only thing, and aside from Brian Leftwich and most of them, they got to be mobile. That's the biggest pet peeve because you got to be a scrambler. You ain't got no wheels. The white folks got a problem with you. That's the biggest problem. Always got to run. See, to me, a black quarterback that's always got to run, that's almost like a police. That's almost like a stereotype. Can't you be a stationary, be a great quarterback? Doug Williams showed you could be good with it. So they all got to come out and run. But that's the only one. I have no other pet peeves because we're still, that's still not even been fully accepted. Yeah. If Lamar can learn that too, because he's got a good ball handle fake and he can throw a deep ball, he can too. Jordan Love got a nice touch once he learns not to throw the ball over the middle. Just has to do touch passes. He's more effective with the touch passes down the field. So, I mean, you got him. But let's be realistic. If you ain't mobile and black, they at quarterback, they gonna look at you funny. I'm just keeping it 100. See, I grew up in a time when they couldn't wait to give Steve Young the job. Can't say nothing about him no more. I mean, you got in 5 Super Bowl appearances, and what can I say about the guy now? Nothing. He's a made man. He's at the table. Got 3 rings. None. He shut me up when he started winning rings because he used to be the worst clock management. That all ended. I got nothing to say about him at all. I don't think I didn't like is the Travis Kelsey push. He didn't, but again, he's a made man, yo. He's a made man. Depends on which retired players you're talking about. I watched Cedric Maxwell talking to Kevin McHale. That was interesting. The players Mount Rushmore thing. I hear Byron Scott's interviews. If you're using Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson's example, then I can tell you that they just loud, ignorant, and talk crazy. Just like Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. I think that they vent a lot of anger, but I can understand. The only thing is that they can do it better. He did. I saw his interview on Vlad. He spoke out about his ex-wife. He talked about R. Kelly. He talked about Michael Jordan. He talked about Jerry Reinsdorf. He did, and he got whiteballed. And I did my video about. You see, I did a video about David Stern and his Negroes. I touched on that. You got it. It's in the people want to watch my videos. Watch the videos. I haven't put nothing like that. I haven't done a Patreon. I don't do really an uncut because I'm not using vulgarity and I'm not going to say that. But if you want to, I guess if you really want to see the real me is uncut, I get come here to this live stream. Tell your friends, tell your family if they want, bring them on. He wasn't underrated. He was rated just what he was. He was a second tier backup, third tier guard. Wasn't much of a starter, but he had some athleticism, could shoot a little bit. I did like his truth that he spoke. He was mild mannered the way he carried himself, but he wasn't underrated. Wasn't like he went to Charlotte. He wasn't gonna set the world on fire, but he could practice good and he held his own. But he wasn't like and there wasn't no revelation with him. I watched him play. You know, he was pretty good for his time, but it wasn't no. But when I said about Hodges, yeah, you want to hear me talk about that? Bring that on here. When I do videos, keep them to 3 to 5 minutes. When I'm on here, you want to talk about it? Probably old Sixer uniforms. I like that Miami Heat, Miami Vice look. I like the white Sunday Laker outfit, Jared. Those was cool. Golden State's black is tight. Uh, mm, Not the Celtics, the Knicks, or the Bucks, or the Pistons. '90s was cool. Sacramento has some cool ones. The Timberwolves got some cool ones. The Nuggets ones was cool. Yeah, the Sonics ones was tight. That was tight. I had to think there for the Blazers. Black Road ones was tight. Yeah. Um, like the old school Rockets one. Spurs, early O's was cool. Hawks had tight. Yeah, the Hawks probably got the best one, if I'm honest. Hawks, they gotta have some kind of consolation prize, right? They ain't winning no chips, but I think their uniforms was cool. Yeah. But anyway, like I was saying, if you want to hear me go on something, come to the live stream. I do it more live here than I will anywhere. And Hodges was a deep cat. He touched on a whole lot of stuff. Just like my dude Raul. I follow my dude Raul on Instagram. Very deep spiritual brother. Love his interviews. Love what he got to say. My dude Raul. And what I like about it's real spiritual. Ain't no fanfare. Ain't no happy clappy sappy nappy. He's a reflective brother. So favorite post players, like in the post, you talking about like with Shaq and Moses Malone and Kareem and uh, Wilt and Bill Russell and Artis Gilmore and yeah, in the post, Kevin McHale, Karl Malone, yeah, all those guys come to mind. Because if we're talking we're past the 90s, then that's pretty much all those guys. There you go. That's a hand right there. That's two handfuls right there. Because ain't nobody today except who really does it today. Giannis does it, and Jokic to an extent, and Embiid, but these guys are inside out today. Brooke Lopez actually got a nice post game when they use him the right way and they don't, fall off him, don't make him shoot them corner threes. But and there you go. That's a lost art though. Because everything you asked me, I got to think back 25, 30 years ago. Giannis, better team player. Got a couple league MVPs, got a finals MVP. And he's going to, you know, he's only going to add to his totality. Giannis. KG's a better talent, like as far as pure athleticism, but Giannis is better. Trajectory's better. Yeah. Okay. I know why you would go with him, but when I look at where Giannis was 8 years ago and where he's at now, and when he's in the 101A best player in the league conversation, scoring 30 plus points, the double doubles, the assists, and leading his team. Because KG was never on this guy's level in Minnesota. Never. Because Giannis got a ring. KG didn't got to one Western Conference Finals a year. He won the MVP in 2004, and that was it. Before he head out to Boston. He did not dominate like Giannis did, but I understand why you give KG the love. KG was more engaging and more entertaining to watch than Giannis. Giannis ain't for everybody. But I haven't seen anyone else like Giannis, though. So, but respect that, though. Clay, because he better defender, could create his shots, came up bigger in bigger games. That's what separates the two. Reggie hit big shots and could shoot pure three and could shoot pure. You can make the case. But uh no, Clay had those explosive games, the 37 one quarter, the 3-point barrage. I mean, Clay could get off. Clay was a defender too. Don't just think just that. That's what Reggie was a one-trick pony. You take the big shots against the Knicks and a couple games against the Bulls and hit some big shots in the finals against the Lakers. What else did he do? He couldn't rebound. He wasn't no assist man. He wasn't taking no charges. Clay was a defensive player. Remember when the Memphis played Golden State and John Morant was going to the hole? Who swatted John Morant going to the lane with the left? It was Clay. Final seconds of the game. It's not close to me. Reggie's got more of the pizzazz and he's in the media and he was bigger in name. But Clay's for me, because I think Clay would have had Reggie Miller's career if he'd been solo from Steph. I do. But would Reggie Miller have been as instrumental with Steph Curry? Rick Smits, come on now. Big Z was all right, but Rick Smits actually was a double double, and he could fit in today. Big Z was not the same guy as Rick Smits. Rick Smits would be like the like Sabonis is in Sacramento minus the assist. I don't know what Big Z would do. Z was decent, but he wasn't no Rick Smits. Though Rick Smits was better. If Rick Smits played today, he'd probably be putting up 19 to 20. And he would be good enough right now for a team to go and roll and win it all. Because he was where he played then, you bring that to today, put him on the Pacers today and have whatchamacallit who's they center move over. Mark Jackson, because he led assists. I like Mookie's postseason, and Mookie was decent, but Mark Jackson had a better career. You know, this is where you having a debate about what I call high second tier guards. Mark Jackson's gonna win that. Had some flurry with the Knicks, came up bigger with the Pacers. Mookie was quicker and had a better shot, but Mark Jackson in totality, Mark was had him beat. I like Mookie a lot too, but just got to keep it 100. Magic. Yeah, because he was a bigger version and he beat you in more different ways. Now, Zeke was a better pure scorer. Zeke could handle. Zeke could get around and could create a lot. But Magic was just a rare freak of nature. I told you, man can beat you with scoring 2 or less points, give you rebounds, assists, set tempo, get your guys involved. He was a game changer. You're not gonna get too many people that's going. I'm gonna pick over Magic, and Zeke is way up on my list, but he didn't. Now, if I use him in tandem with Dumars as a precursor to Steph and to Clay, Jordan, and Pippen, I can say that. But he wasn't a game changer like Magic was. Magic was a game changer. Magic created a whole style. But Zeke, scoring wise, could hang with him. And he could give you dimes. And he was a tough dude. It's just that Magic had a better raw presentation. And sometimes it comes down to size and the timing. That's the difference, really, I'd say. But Magic was, you know, I told you before, yeah, I gotta make the case for Magic as the GOAT. Because I look at Magic more than just as a point guard. Oh God, this is getting ugly now. You for real? You must be running low on the bottom. Oakley because he was a bit better scorer. Mahorn was a big body. Um, Oakley was enforcer. Mahorn's got the ring, but he got a ring. But Oakley was a fit wherever he went. Mahorn was just like a big body who worked, set up some screens, could get physical, could bone you. But I think Oakley moved just had a little bit more going for him. But that's not exactly like we're going to exactly sit around debating guys who are just basically that's a different level of NBA right there because you went from two creators in Magic and Zeke to two guys who were what we call deadpan, who flatten you like a hot cake and roll you over for fun. So quite a contrast. Interesting contrast too, because no one ever mentions Rick Mahorn and Charles Oakley. None, none, zero. Because until Barry Bonds gets in there and Clemens gets in there and the guys that are supposed to be there, none. The only thing I would have probably said in the past tense would have been Jackie Robinson and Larry Doby. Jackie, Larry Doby like that. Hank Aaron to an extent, but none. I'm devoid of it. I'm not none. I don't even care about it no more. So none. That's one of the reasons why baseball is not that popular with most people. I believe. So I don't know. That's another one that should be in, but I don't know. They are cruel, cold blooded, typical, So you speaking facts, but I tell you, they don't care. They set in their ways. what he should be and what he will get is two different things. Yeah, I mean, I already went through that. I already said that Bonds Clemens, a guy should be in, so I'm not really, you know. Listen, as a baseball fan, I watch the game and I got a rooting interest. But when it comes to the interest, Hall of Fames and all that mess, I could care less. And that really has soured me on the game because I think it's a great injustice that those guys aren't in. So I don't even care. And that's one of the reasons why it fell off with me because it's a bunch of jive that they're not in. So I don't like Hall of Fames of nothing. If you must know, music Hall of Fame, none of that stuff. It's too much politics. I'll give Skip Bayless what he said, which is true. You either are or you aren't. We don't need to wait 50, 70 years to see if you are. We know if you are or you're not. Put it to you like this: Patrick Mahomes a Hall of Famer? I think it's kind of obvious. So you could put him in right now. You could. Who would argue with you? I already said Aaron Donald. We had this conversation already. I mentioned AD. I like Freeney, but AD was more dominant. I'm, you know, he had to double him. And he had a great career. Great career. I like Freeney too. Freeney's situations because he played with the Colts and everything was Peyton Manning top heavy, but he was big time. But AD was another level though. See, all rings ain't created the same. They both got the same amount of Super Bowl victories, but AD's just hit you a little bit different. His dominance hit you just a bit different. That's all. I guess maybe Chuck Knox may become one of them. I guess. Um, Believe it or not, I don't think Tomlin's underrated. If you won a Super Bowl, I don't think he's underrated. He's been doing it for almost 20 years and he's got the same. I think he's respected. He's been able to prove himself. I think actually he's made Bill Cowher more underrated, if you will. Cowher got the same situation as Tomlin, but you don't even remember him. So if you want to go there, I think he didn't make Cowher underrated because it's been so long since you remember Bill Cowher. If you think about it, I think Marv Levy is underrated. 4 straight Super Bowls, and he was a good coach in Kansas City. So I think you know. Well, yeah, because Mike Tomlin didn't match him with 1 win and 1 loss in the Super Bowl, but Bill Carr has been so long in the studio, you forgot he was a head coach almost, you know. And he didn't exactly become John Madden, but he became the guy that you kind of forgot. So I think it is kind of like, yeah. I mean, the fact that he went to 2 Super Bowls in 2 different decades and had AFC Championship games, and he won, but he's kind of like almost forgotten. He's almost like taken for granted to me. So that's just my take. I could be wrong. You can disagree. You can agree. You asked me. So he's one of the names that comes to my mind. You can win and be forgotten and almost be kind of taken for granted. You know, I think he's almost like in that category. Yeah, I would say. A whole lot of them. A whole lot of them. Too many to mention. Too many. Too many. I mean, is Mr. Belichick available for this honor? I mean, where does he look like without Tom Brady? Now, I'm not going to say Christmas Carol because he actually can coach up people. But Mr. Belichick, you're on line one. I would say uh, 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 the Ravens coach that was there when Brian Billick. Yep. He was supposed to be some offensive guru. Never came. A lot of them. A lot of them. I mean, Bernie Bickerstaff was one of them. I never know how Bernie kept getting jobs. Don Nelson, George Carl, um, Doug Collins. Um, there's a lot of them. If Tibbs don't do nothing in New York, he gonna fall on that list too. I don't know how many times they're gonna keep giving him a chance. I don't know how many chances he gonna keep getting. How many guards he gonna get that keep playing, and he don't get it done because he's starting to fall on that list too. It's a lot of them, a lot of them. I'm gonna go in about a couple minutes because I gotta go eat. But it's been good to rapping. But yeah, there's a lot of them now. If you got any more questions, feel free to hit me up real quick. But there's a lot of them. This, like I said, when you ask me overrated, there's a lot of them because NBA now out of the NBA and the NFL, I probably tell you there's more in the NBA. Usually in the NFL, they weed them out. Fisher Price was an exception, but lasting as long, and Marvin Lewis, most of the time they weed them out, but the NBA tends to have more because Dan Tony falls in that list too. Had a great system, but it didn't turn into gold. So, you know, gotta win. Gotta win. And he didn't win. So that's my personal opinion on it though. Dan Tony's the last one that comes to mind. hmm So I gotta go by what I see. And yeah, one trick pony coaches who don't get it done, I call them out. All right, appreciate everyone coming through. Stay safe, stay warm. Thank you for all the questions, Q and A's. Have a blessed night. Stay cool till next time I come back again. Looking forward to seeing everybody. Take care of yourself. Stay on one. Stay cool. Stay safe. Appreciate you. All right, I'm out. Peace. The best. Catch you.